Hello guys, Shopper came back once again. Shout out the video. Is Packer stack is Idris Elba character Packer? No, Pentecost. Butchered the man. Is Pentecost a bad leader? Right? Now someone said, why would I bring this up? Like I said before, hopefully my Pacific Rim video can go through. The channel won't get terminated over something that I fixed the problems. How you gonna try to? That's a whole different subject. But back to the main point. And the reason why I bring up the Pentecost bad leader thing is, rewatching the footage while making an AMV, Packer got Cherno Alfred and Crimson Typhoon killed blatantly. Now, sure, context is key. The Jaeger program only got 8 months. Hong Kong is the last point where they even hold Jaegers. This is Pentecost trying to put everything he can together for one last stride to create a permanent solution to the kaiju problem. Because, like I mentioned before, the wall idea is stupid. It is dumb. It took Mutador an hour. An hour. And it's not the fact that he broke through the wall. It's the fact that what is the long-term plan? He walks around the wall? Or you going to put a wall? You know how much ground you need to cover the entire Pacific, Philippines and all, with a wall? How is that a better solution? How is that better? But back to the main point. Because if Striker's Eureka was there, not too far behind Cherno Alpha and Crimson Typhoon, that would have killed Otachi right then and there. And then when Leatherback would have popped his oversized gorilla built self up, he would have got killed too. Slash and dash, thundercloud technique, and Cherno Alpha applying some of that hot fire to him. Would have cooked him alive, shot him up, light him up for the missile busters. 1, 2, 3, he's dead. These are two of the biggest kaijus we've ever seen with Otachi and Leatherback at the time. And Pentecost pretty much get Crimson Typhoon and Cherno Alpha killed. No one questions this. No one says he's a bad leader. Because you can't say he did it. Because if Striker Reach was the move, or was directly behind him, Otachi would have died first. Well, what if Leatherback would have showed up out of nowhere? He let Otachi fight two Jaegers by himself. Then get slashed and dashed. Pretty much Otachi 2v1 a Gen 1 Jaeger and a Gen 4 Jaeger by himself. Well, actually, no, that's not true. That's the Gen 4. He spit acid on Cherno Alpha, and when he was applying the Wombo combo to him, Leatherback then showed up for the tag team and promptly put Cherno Alpha to sleep permanently. And I just find it strange that Pentecost, somebody who need all his resources together, right, would strangely enough send those two out there against two of the strongest Jaegers, big in size and weight, and why didn't you just send 3 of them in there? Why not? Any third guy that was show. Like, the only problem with Leatherback being there is the fact that Striker Eureka is digital. But at that time, they did not know that he had that electromagnetic pulse. So if that was going to be the case, right? Worst case scenario, let's just say Otachi get Wombo combo, 3v1, they kill him, right? Because they've done it before. They sent 3 Jaegers against one kaiju before. Then Leatherback shows up and eventually sets off his EMP. The only two that would be affected is Crimson Typhoon and Striker Eureka. Crimson, I think he is. Oh yeah, he's digital. But outside of that, Cherno Alpha will still be good to go. And the only thing Cherno Alpha will have to do, he's not combating acid. The electromagnetic pulse won't affect him because he's also ran by nuclear radiation. Because Gypsy and Cherno Alpha both got a nuclear radiation core. Both of them. A lot of the Gen 1 Jaegers do. They switched away from that because just like how Pentecost got to keep eating his pills, a lot of that radiation will leak out over time, killing the pilots. Will kill Pentecost's co-pilot. So if that's the case, the only thing Cherno Alpha have to do is stay on the ropes, on which he probably, since his hole is not melted, since he's not being tag team, he probably would not have got it killed. So Pentecost got 5 people killed. 5. Because like, sure, people can make up their excuses trying to say, well, you know, they needed Striker Eureka, so on and so on. It's you need every resource you got, every one of them. So if we gotta throw every single Jaeger in there, I don't care. But what if we can't send Gypsy out there? Oh, yes, we can. Oh, you get into that? Yeah, I look. If I believe in this last stage plan so much, I'll put my life in the line, tag team with Rayleigh, and we go in there and go beat up Leatherback myself. But you could die. What difference would it make? What is one man compared to billions of people? Insignificant. and then Mako can go in with Rayleigh into the final battle. Now, sure, that will be a little bit harder than it was before, depending if Pentecost does survive post that, because it'll be Mako going against Scunner and Raiju and Splatter, right? But at that merit, let's say only Crimson Typhoon or Cherno Alpha get killed, that's 3v3. And Striker Eureka was putting a wombo combo in that category 5 like it was nothing, to the point where he had to call for backup. Meaning, but it was everybody, 3 Kaiju versus 3 Jaegers. And the category 5 could not call for backup. Striker Eureka would have unleashed them anti-Kaiju Mitchell, slash and dash, and would have killed them. Easy work. Easy. Meaning that then you can go back, potentially try to support the rest of the 2, and by that time, depending on how long the battle lasts, Newton Herman, when it came in, told him, took that dead category 5 Kaiju in, we toss in Striker Eureka, whoever's in, sister, yeah, the dad would be back in action by that point. And now I think about it, no, but it makes it even better. So then Pentecost got to be there for the final battle, depending on his condition. The Striker Eureka tag team can be there, the father and son, Chuck and the other one Henson. And then just like we just got that, Mako and Rayleigh, whoever's left, whether it's Crimson Typhoon or whether it's Cherno Alpha, all 4 in the final battle would have been a lot easier to assess. You would have had a lot more Porsche Jaegers instead of just. Now that I think about it, all the Jaegers in Pacific Rim at the end of the first movies are destroyed. All of them. Gypsy blew up. Cherno Alpha was blown up and drowned. Crimson Typhoon had his whole head unit obliterated. That's a lot of metal to drag out of the water. And Striker Eureka blew up. Pentecost's idiotic plan cost the world all their Jaegers. And in the worst case scenario, you could argue it made humanity weaker for Uprising. I don't like Uprising. I ain't trying to hear it. I ain't trying to hear it. I like the movie. You don't gotta like it. It's canon. It is what it is, shaking and baking. But you can't say because of Pentecost planning here in desperation that he didn't commit a quadruple homicide +1, a 5-piece combo meal back to back. Because Scunner isn't that strong. Gypsy dangerous, but to kill him. Like Scunner would have died if Raiju wasn't there. So if Raiju was fighting Crimson Typhoon and Cherno Alpha, and then on top of it, if Cherno Alpha is still there, we could just detonate him, worst case scenario. Blow him up. Send him right on through. But no, that's not what happened. Pentecost got 5 people killed, and then just, well, I'm going to go into it later. That, number one, if you would have sent them 3 out there in the first place, we would have had more Jaegers, and you wouldn't have to put your life on the line. But in your scenario, you say you can hop in the Gypsy. That if Striker get hits with the EMP, and I don't stop Leatherback from doing it. Because it could be a case, Leatherback hit EMP while going against Striker Eureka to stop the missile, and Cherno Alpha comes up from behind him and rip that thing off his back. Same thing with Crimson Typhoon, just saw it off his back. So, as much as I like the character, as much as I like the movie, like you can't say like his desperation and planning got 5 people killed. Same way we're supposed to have Jaegers to protect people. But no, you know what, Gypsy? Now you better not leave that post. We got 1 Kaiju. 1. And we pretty much know where the Kaiju is. So it just, we can go out there and save some people on the boat. The only problem with Gypsy, only problem with Rayleigh and Nancy doing that at the beginning is what the brother mentioned at the beginning, don't get cocky. They figured the job was done. They didn't confirm the kill. And not, which is another thing, how tall are these Jaegers? Now, why do you ask that? Because there's no way a Jaeger can stand like 5 deep, and somehow a Kaiju can swim through that without anybody seeing them. And they glow translucent blue. They glow translucent blue, and I'm supposed to believe, right? They can swim in 5 deep water to a Jaeger, and no one can see them. The only one that didn't glow like that is like Raiju and Scunner. And trust, like there are some other early ones, but it's just like Otachi and Leatherback pretty much glue. Couldn't see that fella? Okay. Okay. In 5 deep water, he just vanished. Okay. No type of helicopter. Yeah, it is what it is. And then like Gypsy comes out of the water. How was he able to stand? How did he do that? I never thought about that until I like start making AMVs. Like how there's no way that water is deep enough for him to stand thigh hip deep Then also swim. How is he swimming with the jet boosters? And then like what Knifehead couldn't feel like a whole wave of water coming. The boat didn't shake anything. Like I was just like, there's no way that water is that deep and they can stand. Hey, that's just a logistical thing. That's not major. Now back to the Pentecost point. Yeah, Pentecost got 5 people killed, and then himself, and he destroyed every Jaeger in the Jaeger fleet. Now some might say if Pacific Rim was a one-off movie, then it would be all right. I would say no. Um, and the reason I say it is when we sent Gypsy Danger through, let's just say Uprising is not canon. Best case scenario for those who hate Uprising. Right? Let's just say Uprising is not canon. It's all fan fiction, right? And we purely focus on the first movie and like the comic books that came out around that time. If the precursors showed up doing the dinosaurs and potentially wiped them out, what makes you think just because you blew them up, they're going to stop? Imagine if humanity did not make Gypsy Avenger, did not make Brave Phoenix or Titan. Just imagine. They didn't make any of those, and they just stopped. They would have got obliterated. Literally. They could open up that breach anytime. Because it's not just one particular breach. It opens all the way around the Ring of Fire. That's how you can get one in Manila, get one all the way up in Alaska, Russia, so on and so on, right? So they can open up multiple on them. But the only objective is they figured they blow whatever headquarters or wherever they're coming from and then be over. The war was never guaranteed to end. Never. But of course, like some Terminator 2 fans, well, we stopped Skynet in Terminator 2. Well, wouldn't John Connor disappear if you did? Because if the future don't happen, Kyle Reese isn't born. The John Connor in that movie would have died. But that would be using too much of your brain power, isn't it? It is what it is. It is what it is. Like I always say, the world is the way it is because people want it this way. But it's just one of those things you look back on. It's just like, if you would have just let Striker Eureka carve up Otachi and just let Crimson Typhoon, and that's the thing. I don't think Leatherback can really kill a Jaeger 1v1. And we've seen that with Gypsy. Without the electromagnetic pulse, Leatherback isn't that strong. He's not. He's really not. Somehow Otachi was getting the wombo combo put on him by Crimson Typhoon and General Alpha. I'm not saying that was dealing with him easily. No, I won't spread that lie. But that was handling him until a person's head unit got crushed, and Pentecost say stand down, we need you for the nuke. No, technically no. Gypsy got a whole nuclear reactor. Like that's the thing. If a person is that desperate, right? If we're throwing anything at the table, we're gonna go all in on this. We're gonna use this last 8 months with the budget. We're gonna put everything to the wall, and we're gonna spend every dime to ensure that them kaiju creating monstrosities will die. If we're gonna do that, then let's go all the way. You can't just depend on Striker Eureka to deliver the payload. You just can't. So you gotta think of alternative options. Because if Striker Eureka was decommissioned, like Sydney wanted it to be, which goes into another case with Pacific Rim. I understand that Guillermo del Toro wants to create this series where humanity comes together and saves the world. That's a different. Humanity and politicians are two different things. And some might say that's quite cold to say, and some other people say like, "Yeah, you got that right." What I mean by that is, people there'll always be a subset of humanity. You could say it's 8%, 15%. You could say it's 2%. That will always do something in their own self-interest. So it really could be the average people or the working people, and it's not a eat the rich type of thing. This is just like the people who have similar mindsets coming together to make the world better, beyond politics, beyond governments, beyond anything else. Because that's pretty much what happened. All the government leaders didn't really care. We're gonna build the wall. The wall didn't stop. It was very strange. Is the wall didn't stop anything, and not one of those leaders said, "Well, maybe we should what you gonna rebuild the wall?" Let's just say Pentecost listened, right? He didn't come up with this plan. You're gonna build the wall. The kaiju's are still gonna show. What did that solve? And you can decommission the Jaeger program. That just you're not even gonna. But the logic here is questionable at best. It really is. Because after a certain point, they break through the wall. They're going to make it inland. Eventually. And with Uprising Cannon, they're going to blow up Mount Fuji. You're going to die either way, buddy. Either way, you don't catch that business. Because as soon as Mount Fuji detonates and lights up the ring of fire, you know how many earthquakes and tidal waves that's gonna create. So that little bunker you built, multi-billionaire, you're gonna get crushed. You're gonna die. So it's just like, that's why I don't sit here and act like the first Pacific Rim was some type of flawless movie, because it's not. Because Pentecost got 5 people murdered and everybody acting like it didn't happen. Everybody. We're just gonna walk that off. I don't know about that, buddy. I think I feel a type of way that some good people, some veteran Jaegers, lost their lives over nothing. I don't care what Striker Eureka is. We got backups. Like I said before, if you was that desperate, I would have hopped to the Gypsy of Danger myself and put my own life on the line. If you're that dedicated, like he did at the end of the movie, might as well. We gotta get this job done. Well, that's what my favorite line from the movie is with Rayleigh. That's the thing, because Michael don't really talk much in the movie. It's really Rayleigh's leaguer to a certain degree. Cause like Striker Eureka is a tag team. A lot of other guys are a tag team, but Mako's, they don't give too much insight. He's a fun character, but it's mainly Rayleigh Yeager. It's sad, but he's the main backbone personality for Gypsy Danger. That's just factual. So it is what it is. But the Rayleigh said at the end, we got the Kaiju carcass, and look, man, one way or another, we're gonna get this job done. Fun times, fun times, fun times, fun times. But yeah, that's some food for thought, some conversation. Do you believe that Pentecost is a murderer? I'm not saying he did this maliciously. I'm not saying he had something against the Chinese or the Russian Jaegers. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not saying that, well, you know, that was expendable. I don't think he saw it that way, but I just saw that he best, if Striker Eureka didn't need to get involved, then he didn't need to get involved. But you see that Chirnar Alpha and Crimson Typhoon is struggling. Chirnar Alpha get knocked off his feet. Crimson Typhoon is getting knocked off his feet. It's one thing that was continue to put the pressure on him, but every time I get hit with a tail whip, I don't know about that. You can't have Striker Eureka do some long range attacks here. And remember, they don't know where Leatherback is. They've only encountered one. So Striker Eureka could have got jumped from behind by Leatherback and no one be none to wear. And imagine if then he would have activated the electromagnetic pulse. So then Striker Eureka is out of commission and potentially face first in the water and wasn't able to shut his ports to go underwater, and now the Hicks, father and son, is drowning. It's a possibility. They didn't know where Leatherback was. Leatherback was just chilling, eating bananas, hanging out with Donkey Kong. I'm telling you, sometimes I have too much fun with this stuff, but yeah, it's just I'd like to hear some other people's opinions, because this is not just a theory. This is a fact. This is what actually happens. His actions caused 5 Jaegers their life, which potentially was led to actually not potentially, what did eventually lead to the Jaeger program getting shut down, because they kept dying. Like, that stuff isn't cheap, which a TV show could explore. How much budget does it take to make a Jaeger? How much commitment does these different places have to do it? And just like how it plays into the economy, how certain countries want it, and so on and so on, protection. I don't want it to be a government show, but it does. You can see how it weasels its way in there. No, I don't want a stereotypical Glen pilot. It could be everybody. You know, getting whispers in the ear, things rumored in the background, Jaegers being moving around, people having their own personal interests, so on and so on. It'd be a fascinating way to look at it. But of course, you know, the pilots and the Jaegers should still be the main backbone of the show, or the follower. You gotta be. But I don't know, there's a lot of interesting things, like interesting ways. I'm telling you, the most untapped franchise in media is Pacific Rim right now, that I can think of right off the bat. So many options, so many toys, so many so and so. I don't think we got a category 5. I don't think so. Aside from Raijin. Raijin from Uprise. We didn't get the, I don't think we got the Kaiju 5 from the first movie. Somehow we didn't get no human figures, no, it is what it is. But I don't know if you got thoughts and opinions. Do you believe with me that Pentecost got 5 people killed and his leadership is questionable? I'm not saying he's a horrible leader. I'm not saying he should be court-martialed for getting 5 people killed. But this is a critical decision where you need every asset and every dollar you need. And I can't take that risk of just leaving Striker Eureka on the sidelines because he's carrying the payload. I just can't. I can't take that risk. And if we really need people out there, I would have hopped in Gypsy Danger my gosh darn self, and we sent out 3 Jaegers, and we would have jumped both of them and ripped them to shreds in that water. Because as soon as Lilibet would have hit that EMP, it's Gypsy 1v1 versus the Gypsy and Cherno 1v1 versus the other two. And since Gypsy got long range capability, if General Alpha gets into a difficult situation, Gypsy can hold off Otachi's tail or hold up any one of them, fire a few shots from his plasma pistol, light Lilibet back up, make him distracted. General Alpha can bring down the wombo combos on top of him, and those 2 Kaijus would have been dead, cut up, sliced and diced, and put it in somebody's medicine by tomorrow. But sadly, that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. But hey, it is what it is. It's what it is. I don't know, this wasn't supposed to be a video type series. I'm still on hot water, rather that video. The video is over an hour. Over an hour of heavily edited content with music and everything. Clips, images, and I just hope it goes up. But best case scenario, if it won't go up, as long as I keep the channel, I don't care what happens to the video. But it's been MWK, like, comment, subscribe. And do you believe Pentecost is a questionable leader during his final days, or what? He's still this renowned, flawless leader who got 5 people killed unnecessarily. And hey, I still love the movie, and I still like the character. This is not a hate video. This is a questioning of logistics and strategy argument here. But hey, it is what it is. MWK, peace.